Hey guys, Nova Bushido here. Hope you guys are doing alright. And today we got some information on Understandments 2, which was pretty cool. I didn't watch the live stream, but I did see the roadmap after and some of the information from it. And I just wanted to have a bit of a discussion in comparison to. I'm just a bit confused actually on Capcom's point and how they're actually dealing with the roadmap for Rise and Stories. Because following from Stories' release in August, they're getting exclusive monster quests. You get three new monsters. Well, you get Kotorov, you get Hellblade, and you get Bolt Weaver. And then in September you get Socia, Elderfrost, Kirin, Kirin. Then you also get later on Dread King, Molten Tigrex. You just get a higher difficulty Kotorov. And then later on in October you get a high difficulty new quests and Silver and Gold Rathian and Rathalos. And it's interesting because people are already interested in I guess a negative way. People are already upset when it came to Monster Hunter Rise's roadmap for future content. After the May update, pretty much what we're getting is just pay DLC, we get event quests, and then we get some collab event quests, or it's hard to really say what is going to be detailed in them. So the Rise roadmap is really low in comparison to Stories 2, and I'm actually not too sure why that is. I'm a bit confused. Definitely Rise has been an amazing game for me and for a lot of my friends and for people. Some people have their gripes with it. If there's any gripes, I probably only have like 2 or 3 maybe. One being difficulty. I think the game is a bit easier in the later parts of the game than I would like. There definitely is hard quests, but it's not. I don't think there's enough hard quests, and I think maybe high rank should be a bit tougher than it was in comparison to low rank. On a modular level, it should be scaling up on difficulty. So I don't know. I said modular. That makes no sense. But yeah, they should have scaled up the difficulty a bit higher, I believe. Had more gates on the way to finishing the game. Another one. I probably would say that some weapon trees aren't complete. I was assuming and hoping that they would have something like hybrid monsters to fill in that, so you could upgrade their weapons to a higher grade, but that's not the case. So when I see the roadmap, it really, I'm not really too sure how I feel about it. I guess I feel a bit down that the Stories 2 roadmap is going to be great, and that's cool because I'm definitely going to buy Stories 2. I'm actually going to do a full, maybe not a full, but I'm going to do playthrough. I don't know how complete it's going to be, but stay tuned for that. Also, sorry for not making many videos. I'm going to be making more in the upcoming month. So it's just a bit strange that they decided to give Stories such a bigger slide of roadmap compared to Rise. Now, I have some theories on this. I have a couple of theories. Now, you guys in the comments, tell me what you think on honest level. So from an interview back, what I read last year, Inoche's-san was talking about Rise's release, and they were actually planning Rise to be releasing last year. I think probably like it would be like November, October, December, but it got delayed until March. So I'm actually thinking that maybe Stories is still always planned for summer, and as time goes on, they were hoping at having more content from let's say January all the way to summer, so like July to the release, and so then Stories could have its time, Rise could have its time. But now that the games are coming out pretty much near the same time, March to July, it's like 3 and a bit months off of each other. They're kind of overlapping when it comes to content, so I'm thinking that maybe Capcom has delayed some of the, it's just a speculation, I have no proof of this. I'm hoping that there's a 4.0 that comes out after Stories, so after October, maybe around October for Rise, because I think the game could definitely use it. I believe some people are a bit unfair when they're critiquing Rise and also comparing Rise to some of the previous games in the series or certain aspects of the game. The reason I specifically say that I think there should be a 4.0 is when it comes to things like the Infernal Springs. There's only 2 quests in that map. That's a bit strange, An ended map, I'll be expecting a couple more quests. The 2 quests are great, they're really cool. Definitely the one of all the Apex monsters, that's a really fun one, really difficult. But I would have expected a bit more than just 2 quests in that one map. You know, a couple of good quests, maybe rotations of quests coming through for that map. I think that would have been cool. When it comes to, and also when it comes to the weapons as well, I was hoping that, you know, and I would presume that they're gonna at least level up some of them a bit higher before, not just a G rank. I don't believe we need to wait for a G rank for that. If that's what they're gonna do, then so be it. But I just have a feeling that that's something that they're gonna have beforehand, before the G rank comes out. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's no way to know until they actually release information, or they don't release information. But I'm pretty sure they want to push Stories 2 really hard. You know, Stories 2 it's a game they probably don't think it's going to sell anywhere near as well as Rise. I guess we have to wait and see how well it does. I hope it does amazingly. I hope all Monster Hunter games do amazingly. Rise so far has been a huge success, and it's going to continue to be a huge success when the PC release comes out. And in fact, maybe when the PC release comes out, that's when you'll see more content coming out for Rise as well, like in conjunction. So they're going to be, rather than staggering it, they're going to be two aligned compared to World, where it was staggered until pretty much at the end. Then they caught up. I guess we have to see on that. Now, you know, those are some of the negative things on my mind about the situation with Capcom recently. But another one that I actually didn't talk about was about E3. Now, E3 was pretty tragic. Capcom didn't have pretty much anything to show. No new games, which was interesting. I mean, of course, there's been a pandemic. People need to understand that. As a developer myself, I definitely understand that and I sympathize with that. Although not even having at least one, you know, game to talk about that's new is quite surprising. There's definitely games that they're working on. I don't know, Dragon's Dogma 2, any new Street Fighter, anything. They must be working on something. They didn't even announce anything. Most companies pretty much didn't have anything to show. Maybe 1 or 2 games, and most of them are lackluster. Square Enix didn't have much to show. You know, Ubisoft is Ubisoft. EA, who cares? I don't think EA was even there. I don't even care about EA. You know, the only big companies that were there to show decent footage, the actual gameplay and games coming, was Nintendo and Microsoft, and they did amazingly. Personally, I gave both of them a B. I think both of their shows were great, really good shows. But I think it really shows that the industry really got impacted hard by COVID. A lot of games have been delayed. A lot of games are not being talked about. Point in case, Breath of the Wild 2. That game was announced 2019. I'm pretty sure Nintendo wanted that game to come out last year if they could have. Maybe even this year. But COVID has delayed a lot. So it's not coming this year. It's coming next year. We don't know when. COVID has definitely messed up a lot of development time for a lot of companies. There's numerous of delays, and games are coming out not in the greatest of states at all times. So that's something to bear in mind. And it's making me think that something that I've heard from developers is that games that were already pretty much already in development and already planned to come out, like projects already planned to come out, they're in a better state than ones who haven't even started. Those ones are going to be the ones that are going to be really impacted. And in the same way that content that hasn't been started on something, it's got me in my mind thinking that maybe more content for Rise that might come has been started after the game is released, of course, or most likely, and it will probably be coming, you know, sometime after October or around October, I would hope. I can't, you know, definitely say that. You know, this is all speculation. I guess it's educated speculation or for what's going around pretty much. But, you know, you guys have to let me know in the comments. I'm sympathetic to, you know, all these companies. At the same time, slightly disappointed that we don't have more of a roadmap for Rise compared to just DLC and event quests. And then event quests aren't too difficult, and that's why I want to see harder event quests. Rise as the game has some of the best grounds to build up, you know, more content and more things in it. There's just so many good ideas in the game. They just need to be expanded on and developed more. And I for sure they're going to be doing that in a G rank version. But I want to see more of that, at least in the high rank version, before we wait a year and a bit for the G rank. Yeah, I'm still playing Rise a lot. Actually, not a lot. A couple hours a week. I like to kill Magnemono daily. Magnemono is a good monster for me. I like to kill him, or hunt him rather. I'm planning on actually going back to play GU eventually after I play stories. As me and my friend's plan originally was to play Rise until late summer, and then we'll play GU to finish off our deviant hunts because we still have more deviants to kill. So we're planning that. We're planning that. I also want to play a bit more 3U because I haven't played 3U in a while, many years. But I got my Wii U back, and I've recently just jumped on it just to have a look to see my save files and everything's good. I'm going to be starting that soon, which should be great. Just last things before I go. Actually, no, I'll say that for another video. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.